Hello, I'm Elizabeth Sills. I'm the Grants and Programs Manager at PRS Foundation, and I'm really excited to be talking about PRS Foundation and South Bank Centre's new music biennial in partnership with Coventry City of Culture, which will be taking place in 2022 in both Coventry and London. The festival involves 20 pieces, each 15 minutes long, which get an exciting premiere at both weekends. And I'm really happy to be talking to one of the composers who was involved in New Music Biennial 2019, Claire Ensinger, whose piece for the organ, Blauen Kuhn, which was commissioned by London Contemporary Orchestra and the Richard Thomas Foundation. So hi Claire, would you be happy to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm a composer and performer and predominantly working experimentally with the pipe organ. And for this commission, I work with the LCO and myself on organ. And I also kind of work with electronics and organ as well. And yeah, the organ that I mostly kind of write around is at Union Chapel in London.
Thank you and welcome today, and thank you for coming to talk to us. So as I mentioned, New Music Biennial involves 20 new pieces that are 15 minutes long. It's a free festival, which is very exciting. So can I ask about your kind of compositional process, and how did you kind of practically go about writing a piece that was 15 minutes long?
This was probably the most challenging piece I've ever had to write, because I was writing for two specific instruments, one at the Queen Elizabeth Hall and then one at the University in Hull. And the thing about the organ is that they can be very different, and also not only is the instrument different, but the space that the instrument is in. So you can't, and the way that I work with the organ, I don't, it's not kind of how you might expect. I stick chopsticks on the keys, and then I play very much with the wind pressure to create all these different kind of beating harmonics. And so you can't just rock up to an organ and transfer a piece onto, you know, one that you'd written on another organ. So it was really complex, and that the organ at the Queen Elizabeth Hall was actually being restored. And so first of all, I kind of spent a lot of time in Hull, and then I had to then start spending time closer to the event at the Queen Elizabeth Hall and try and transfer the piece, and kind of working between the two different organs and knowing every single incremental step that pipe makes when you pull out the stop was just, it was super challenging, but I thought it was just incredibly exciting also, because it's almost like you have two pieces in one, because it can sound quite different on the different organs. So yeah, it was challenging, but an incredible experience to be able to do that. So and then to add the LCO into the mix and work with them was just, yeah, a composer's dream.
Wow, and I remember being there at both performances, and all of us kind of non-organ players being fascinated by the straws that you were using while you were playing. So, I mean, you talked a bit about this, but what was it that kind of inspired you to make this piece?
So the piece is called Blauen Kuhn, which is in Scottish Gaelic, it means quiet glen. And a lot of my work, I would actually say probably all of my work, is inspired by the Scottish landscape. I'm from Scotland, and although I'm based in London, I tend to go to Scotland every 6 weeks because I just need to climb a mountain to be able to survive living in a city. And I'm very much, so it's very much how I spend a lot of my time when I'm up there, is just climbing Munros and being in the open. And I think that very much informs the way that I write on the organ. And kind of for me, just, I'm not thinking necessarily of the place, but it's the emotions that are brought up from being in that place and taking it back and then starting to write. And yeah, that's kind of just what comes out. So yeah.
That's really exciting. No, I bet there's some really beautiful landscapes and that inspired you for this piece. And you know, as part of the open call for New Music Biennial, we kind of invite organisations to commission composers. So as a composer yourself, what was the kind of process of working with the organisation that commissioned you?
So it was kind of, it was really fluid. So I had a relationship with the London Contemporary Orchestra before this piece, and I work with them regularly with the festival that I run at Union Chapel called Organ Reframed. And so we were already, you know, there was already kind of a comfortable dialogue between us. And it was just what I find really brilliant about the London Contemporary Orchestra is they feel like the right fit for me in terms of experimentation. And this was the first piece I've written for orchestra before, but not more kind of in a classical sense, and not so much like I've never written for me doing my kind of thing on the organ with an orchestral component. So to kind of then, so I kind of always saw my composition in two different paths of like my orchestral work and then my organ stuff, and to kind of bring that together, like have the opportunities bring that together for the first time. Like now it's opened a door that I can't shut, because having that experience and being able to kind of work experimentally, not only with the organ, but kind of, you know, branch out into the other instruments. Now I just can't not do it. So this piece was like a massive turning point in my career in terms of what I want to do next and what I'm working on now.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, would you say that like Music Biennial kind of raised your profile a little bit in that way?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I feel like getting that opportunity was a massive stepping stone in my career, because, you know, yeah, you're getting to play two amazing venues that are high profile. And, you know, playing that piece at the Queen Elizabeth Hall, I then got asked back to play at the Queen Elizabeth Hall in the January afterwards, which would never have happened if I didn't have that first opportunity or had written that piece. And I probably would never have written that piece if it weren't for this commission, you know, because it kind of pushed me into new territories. So, and then that piece got nominated for an Ivor as well. So it was, yeah, it was like hands down one of the most special moments of my entire career to date.
That's really amazing to hear. We're so pleased that New Music Biennial kind of helped with that, and it's really exciting to see the direction that the piece has gone in. I mean, on a whole, the kind of process of New Music Biennial outside of the compositional process involves kind of, you know, it will involve composer gatherings where all composers can meet each other, and the commissioning organizations can meet each other, and so you can all kind of share experiences together. And then there is, of course, two different festival weekends, which was Hull and London, at London in the South Bank Centre in 2019, and in 22, sorry, we are in 2022. In 2022, it will be taking place in April the 22nd to the 24th in Coventry, and July the 1st to the 3rd in the South Bank Centre in the Queen Elizabeth Hall again. So for you, your experience, I mean, what was it like at the kind of festival weekends? Did you get to see any of the pieces? I mean, did you make any connection with the composers or organizations?
Yeah, I think there was like a really great vibe in both cities, and it was really lovely to be able to, like, you know, kind of walk around and see different performances and connect with different composers, and also, you know, share the spotlight with these wonderful composers. And yeah, it was a really kind of, it was great for connecting with kind of like-minded people, as well as having the opportunity to really kind of push yourself with a new piece. So kind of all the opportunities that you hope for as a composer in one, you know, well, in 2 weekends.
Amazing.
I wanted to keep going. I wanted more cities.
Yeah,
wanted to just like, because I got a taste for it, and then I just wanted to go on like an NMB tour.
Oh, well, I mean, we can always think about that for a possibility as time goes on. So it's so good to hear how much of a positive experience that you had on it. I mean, like, what kind of tips would you have for any composers who are, well, obviously it will be the organization who applies for the composer, but do you have any tips for anyone applying for New Music Biennial in 2022?
I think that obviously the organization that are commissioning and the composer will be talking before actually applying about what they want to apply for. And I think that composers and commissioners should really use the opportunity to kind of do something new and push yourself, because, you know, it's a luxury to have time to work with musicians and develop a new piece. And so, you know, just really try and push yourself creatively, because for me, that's what I did. And now, like, I won't look back. And I'm just like, yeah, it's just given me kind of a completely different line of which I'm going in now, with working more expansively with other musicians.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you've touched on this quite a lot in the tips and your experience. But I mean, I think you've already said, but how important do you think it is for composers to be able to push boundaries? And in what ways are you personally striving to do this?
I mean, I think it's really important that you have your own kind of, you know, creative aims, and you're constantly trying to push yourself. I think that's the whole point of being an artist and like developing your practice. And so, I mean, for me, I'm very much like, you know, bedded in the organ world now, of like trying to create my own voice with the organ and develop my own techniques and ways of playing. And yeah, I think no matter what instrument you're writing for, I think it's always kind of really interesting to not go on something that's comfortable, but really push yourself into new places, because that's what's exciting for the composer writing and for the audience. So, and yeah, this opportunity is definitely a supported way of doing that.
Oh, well, thank you so much. That's really inspiring and really great to hear all of your kind of experience, highlights of your experience at New Music Biennial. Do you have any particular things you like to kind of highlight, you pick up on from your experience?
No, I think just everyone apply.
And cool. Make it clear enough. On that note, the deadline for New Music Biennial 2022 for the open call will be on the 20th of September. So do please get in touch with us if you do want to apply. The application form is available via our website. And thank you so much, Claire, for being involved and talking about your experiences with us. And we're very excited to be continuing New Music Biennial in 2022 in Coventry, April 22nd to 24th, and South Bank Centre, the 1st to the 3rd of July. So watch this space, and please do apply if you'd like to. Thank you so much, Claire, for being involved.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and we'll sign off there.